Hello and welcome back to the podcast. So, episode 2 of our testing process. As I said, there's going to be a couple of episodes where we're going to be looking into the testing process using a traffic campaign to make sure that what we put through to the top of funnel is actually going to work. So today we're going to look at the hooks. Last week, I sort of gave an overview of this testing process and how it works. But essentially, if you've only just joined now, what we're going to talk about is the fact that I want to test hooks, I want to test headlines, I want to test the creative, I want to test text overlay on the creative, and this all goes between traffic and conversions. Conversions is where we're going to start spending a lot more money to try and get people to buy our product or opt in for our service through leads or whatever. But the hook and the headline at time is when I want to test at a traffic stage. And the reason I want to do this is because I'm concentrating on the click-through rates and the cost per click, but predominantly the click-through rates, because what we're going to start seeing is imagine you'd thought, right, today I'm going to set up an ad. I've got an audience that I know is going to work. I've used it before. I've got a great creative that I've used before, and we get a great engagement for it, and I have sold products to it. But what you're finding is that there's no longevity to your ads. Things are changing all the time. You'll get like 7 days where you're getting orders or leads coming in, and then suddenly it drops off. Now, this is something that happens all the time. And if you're trying to scale your account, spend more money, or essentially stop wasting money on things that aren't working, or scratching your head because next week suddenly an ad's not working so well, and you've got to then go back to the drawing board. This is a way of bringing through like a winning ads library, so that every time something starts dipping, you can bring something through, start getting it into the testing process for a conversion. But first of all, we want to test out hooks and headlines using a traffic metric. Now, as I said last week, the reason we use traffic is because it's a lot cheaper than testing it from a conversion campaign. Now, people out there might be listening to this going, oh, he doesn't know what he's talking about. I have been doing conversion campaign testing for forever. Okay. So for years, we've moved away from traffic completely, and we're now using conversions. The problem is when you're testing through a conversion optimization, it gets really expensive. And if you're wanting to test 5, 10, 15, 20 hooks, the same again in headlines, et cetera, you spend loads of money before you even actually put the ads live. So there are going to be people out there going, oh, I don't agree with what he says, blah, blah. But this isn't to say that our winning ad formula is going to be the holy grail, and then we put it into a conversion campaign and it completely works every single time. That's not the case. It is just it is allowing room for error to get rid of the headlines and hooks that really aren't engaging our audience based on that audience we've chosen. We're going to take the ones that are, and then we're going to carry on through to the phase 2. So whilst we're using traffic, this is a phase 1 exercise, and we'll actually be labeling the ads phase 1. So let's get into it. So the first thing I want you guys to do, and I know this is a podcast, I'm going to try and make it as easy as possible for me to explain how to do these things. But the first thing I want you to do, I want you to get an Excel spreadsheet or a Google sheet, whatever it is that you use, and you're going to create 4 tabs on it. Okay. So your first tab is going to be basically, let me just get it in front of me because I'm talking and then I've lost my tabs. Where is it? Your first tab is going to be creative. Then you're going to create another tab at the bottom, which is going to be a hook. Then you're going to create another one, a headline, and then another one called WAF, which is winning ad formula. Okay. So in your creative one, you're going to basically, I'm assuming that you've got a creative that you know works really well, or you've just had it created and you've spent a lot of time and money getting it done, and you want to test this ad out for this particular creative first. So in this creative spreadsheet, I want you to create a column called, well, let's say column A, and in there you're going to write in row 1 number, and then leave a gap, and then in row 3 you're going to put 1001, and next to that you're going to put in your video or your carousel, whatever it might be. And just so you know that, let's fast forward a year and you've tested out lots of different creatives, you know that 1001 equals this particular creative, whether it's a static or whatever. You could even have a link to the Google Drive or whatever there where you store it. So you're always just creating a path, a library of where all these things are kept. Okay. In your second tab, which is called hooks, along the top, column A, row 1, I want you to write in number, and then I want it in column B, hook, and then in column C, in column C, I want you to put cost per click, and then in column D, click-through rate. Okay, so we're going to keep, after we've done this test, we're going to keep a library of the things that have been working. So in your column A, you're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's do 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and then next to that, we're going to write down the hooks that we are going to be testing. So the ones are, what is a hook? A hook is basically, if it was a video, it'd be your first 0 to 3 seconds of a video. So it's the bit when you're going through TikTok or you're going through Reels. I know we're not going to talk about video right now. We are talking about the copy side, the text side of an ad. But just so you understand, it's that first 3 seconds. Now, when you're writing copy for an ad, it works exactly the same way. It's that first bit of text that they see when your ad pops up on their on their feed. So you've got an image that pops up, and above that image, before you're able to press see more. So have a look through your phone if you don't know what I'm talking about, or if you do, you're building ads or whatever. But just when you're on your phone and you're looking through your feed and you see a sponsored ad, it will say bit of text, and it will go. If it's got a longer bit of text, it will say see more, and that sits above your image or your video. Okay, that first 1 or 2 lines or your first sentence is what we're going to use as the hook. That is the bit that makes someone want to read. So your image makes them stop, or your video makes them stop, and they're going to read a little bit of text. We want that hook to make them read it. If you're thinking of emails, a subject line makes you open the email. Think of it the same way. Okay, so it's that hook. So I've got one here from motorbike seats. Okay, just as an example, this is a client of mine. I'm sure he won't mind me speaking about it, but finally, now ride your motorbike without getting a sweaty backside. What I mean by this is that it's a bike seat that's been developed to go onto your actual bike seat to stop your bum getting sweaty, to keep rain off your seat, all this sort of stuff. So finally, now ride your motorcycle without getting wet. Or you could say, stop scrolling Harley Davidson riders, or calling out Harley Davidson riders, or attention Harley Davidson riders, whatever it might be. These are your hooks. My next one, do you frequently stop during a long motorcycle ride because your bottom feels hot and sore? Number 3, say goodbye to sweaty backsides, airflow, seat covers have arrived. Number 4, keep your bike seat cool and dry immediately using airflow. So you can see where I'm going with this. It's that first bit of text, which is what we're calling your hook. So go away, you might have got ones that have worked already. If you want to cheat a bit and use some of these AIs out there, help you create some different headlines, different hooks, absolutely fine. This is a testing phase. So we don't know what's going to work and what's not going to work. We're going to have our thoughts. We're going to have some logic over this is what I think is going to work. But do you know what? Logic is a great thing, and it never seems to pan out the way we want it to. So we've gone away and we've written now our 5 headlines. So we've got column A, which is our number, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The hook bit is our 5 different hooks. And then our next 2 columns, which is cost per click and click-through rate, those 2 are now empty because we haven't done our test. So we're now going to go back to our ads manager, okay? And I want you to create a campaign call it phase 1 hook, okay? So this is going to be a traffic campaign. So you're going to go in there and you're going to create your traffic campaign. And you're probably thinking, God almighty, we listened to this podcast for 2 years and he's never talked about traffic, told us we can't use it. But today we are, just for this part of the test. Okay, so we've chosen our traffic campaign. We then go through to our next page, which is our ad set name, which is where we build our audience. Now, what I want you to write in here is, I want you to write in 1001. Remember, that's the audience. Sorry, not the audience. That is the creative, whether it was a video, static, carousel, whatever it is that you're going to test on this ad. And we're only going to test one. This is about hook tests. So it's the creative and one audience. Nothing else changes. We don't want to change these different ad variables. We want to isolate the ad variables. And what I mean is an ad variable is all the different types of hooks, all the different types of creatives, all the different types of audiences, headlines. If we test all these things at the same time, we're not going to know what works. So this is a hook one. So we're going to label this 1001, which is our creative. And then we're going to choose our audience. Now, whatever it might be, if you're into fitness, you might find that, I don't know, trainers is a great audience for you. If you're into selling dog food, it might be that dog walking is a great audience for you. Whatever it might be, choose your audience. I hope you've done it before and you've got some winning audiences, because that'll make this test so much better. But if you're starting from scratch, you've got your starting from scratch creative and you've got your starting from scratch audience based on the logic. Now, if you want to use an interest-based audience and you want to layer that down to get to like 2 million, because it's, if you put dog walking in, let's say it starts off at 15 million people. If you want to overlay interest onto that, I know that you've probably done research on your ads, and there's loads of people saying go broad or don't narrow it down or blah, blah. Just do whatever. Essentially, we're trying to find that pocket of people that are going to work. So I don't mind which one you use. Okay. And then you're going to, depending on what I'm choosing, males 25 to 60 on this particular ad. So I've written that in there. So I've now got an ad set name of 1001, motors, my audience name, whatever I've chosen, and then male 25 to 60. Okay. Scroll down, and I want to give yourself a really low budget. So you could give yourself this £5 a day. Okay. And don't worry, you're not going to spend £5. You're probably going to only spend about 20 quid. Okay. Right. And you're going to start today. You're going to keep scrolling to the bottom. You're going to choose, you've obviously chosen your audience and size of that, your country that you're advertising in, which I guess would be the UK. And I want to get you down to manual placement. Now, if you're testing this on a story or a reel, then fine. It doesn't matter what placements you're testing on, but I want you to isolate that placement. So if you're just doing a normal video or you're doing a normal static or a normal carousel, I want you to isolate these to the Facebook feed and the Instagram feed. Okay. They're usually the best performing, and that's what we're going to isolate to. So that's built our ad set page. Now to the creative and the hooks. Now, the ad name, I want, because we're focusing on hooks now, I want you to call this 01, and your next one's going to be 02, 03. You see what I mean? So we're going to create an ad within the ad set. We'll multiply the ads within the ad set. So we'll have one creator, we'll have one campaign, then we'll have our one ad set, which is where the audience is, and then we're going to have 5 different ads. So we'll do that by duplicating. So we're going to go through here and we're going to scroll down. We're going to, for instance, I'm selecting single image or video, and I've got a video in here. And I'm going to put in now, upload my video, and I'm going to put in my number 1 hook. Okay. So for instance, my number 1 was, here's a quick, that wasn't, let's read it out. Finally, because you heard me say this, finally now ride your motorbike without getting a sweaty backside. And then I've got my copy area, which is, the rest of it is introducing the product. Simply attach the cover to your seat and ride away. Now, if you're going to use another bit of copy, which I would, body copy we call it, which I would definitely say to do, you're going to have your hook, which is going to be first sentence, followed by your body copy, which could be whatever you want it to be. Yeah, this is just telling people, introducing your product or service, blah, 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 get 20% off, click the button today, whatever it might be. That's your body copy. We're not concentrating on that. I want you to keep that bit of body copy the same on all 5 ads that we're about to create. The only thing we're changing is that first sentence of the hook. Then we've got our headline. Now, we haven't done our headline test yet, so pick any headline you want. This one, for instance, is a sale headline. Get 50% off an airflow seat cover today. Now, I won't change that headline again. Remember, this is about the hook. So when we duplicate this ad, the only thing we're going to change is that first sentence, which is the hook. The headline is going to stay the same. The button's going to stay the same. The body copy is going to stay the same. So go down. My call to action is shop now. Yours might be lead or whatever. Put in your website URL, put in your website events tracking, and you've now created your first ad. Right. Now what I want you to do is I want you to just literally click on the 3 dots next to your 01, excuse me, and quickly duplicate. It'll actually say, I'm not saying doing it quickly, it'll actually say, and quickly duplicate. Do that and it will come up with a 01 copy. Now I want you to overlay that 01 copy and call it 02. Scroll down, you'll see that everything is exactly the same. Now go back to your spreadsheet, take out the hook hook from your spreadsheet of number 2 and change the number 2 hook over this. So then it will say your next one, which for instance, mine will say, do you frequently stop during a long motorcycle ride because your bottom feels hot and sore? Introducing. Remember, our body copy stays the same, my headline stays the same, and we have now duplicated and created our add to. We are now going to go back to add to. We're going to press the 3 little dots next to it, and that's now going to quickly duplicate and create number 3. Go back to your spreadsheet, take out the hook number 3, put it in. You see what I'm going here? We're going to do that 5 times, or 10 times, or 20 times. No matter how many hooks you've got, you can do whatever testing you want to do. There's no rule to it. So once we've done that, we are going to go back to our ad. Okay, Michael, I want you to cut here, and I want you to go back to another area. In fact, I'm going to do that myself. So I'm going to go back. So after we've created 3, 2, 1. So after we've created that first ad 0, 1, we're now going to go to the 3 dots next to our ad set. So this will be the bit above the ad. Remember where we wrote in 1001, our audience, and then whatever the part of it was. We've got 3 dots next to it, and we're going to quickly duplicate this. So this is now going to duplicate the ad set and the ad. So we'll now have an ad set with copy at the end. We're now going to take out that copy. We're going to keep it that exactly the same, but we're going to go down to the ad, and we're going to make this one now 0, 2. We're going to go back to our spreadsheet. We're going to take out the hook for 0, 2, and we're going to put that and replace the hook that we've already had from the duplicate. So now it will have our new hook. Do you frequently stop during long motorcycle ride because your bottom feels too hot and sore? Introducing. Okay, so we've now completely duplicated it, but we've just changed the hook. Nothing else changed the same. Now, go back to the ad set, quickly duplicate again, and you'll create another one. We're going to go to the ad of the new one, and we're going to call it 0, 3. We're going to go back to our spreadsheet with the hooks, take out 0, 3, and put that onto the 0, 3 ad. We'll then quickly duplicate the ad set again. So now what we've got is 5 ad sets and ads. So we've got a one campaign, we've got 5 ad sets, and we've got 5 ads. And the way we differentiate it is because we've labeled each of those ads 1 to 5 with the different bits of the different hooks included. Okay, so we've now done that, and each of those ad sets has got £5 on it. So you're thinking, okay, but I don't want to spend that much a day. You're not going to spend that much a day at all. What we're going to do is we're going to create a rule. So we're going to go back to our campaigns, and we're going to highlight, or we're going to tick box that particular campaign, which is phase 1 hook. When we've tick boxed it, we're going to go to rules, and we're going to create a new rule. Okay, so we're going to go into that new rule, and we're going to basically create a new one, and we're going to call this rule phase 1, turn off ads when impressions are 500. Okay, turn off ads when impressions are 500, and you're going to scroll down, and you're going to turn on the actions. Okay, bear with me a second. Repeat that. So we're going to create rule, and we're going to call that the rule name, and then we're going to say apply rule to campaign, and then go down. You'll have a little drop box come up, and you'll have 6 things to choose from. We want to choose active ads in 1 campaign. Okay, active ad sets in 1 campaign. Okay, action, turn off ad set. Conditions, when you can type in impressions, when impressions is greater than 500, ad. And that's it. Don't have to touch anything else on there. We've now created a rule to say when you start running that ad, the hook test ad, as soon as any of those ad sets get to 500, it will automatically turn off, because then we can look at the results. Okay, so we fast forwarded a day. It'll probably only take half a day for that test to run up to 500 impressions. You would have probably spent £2 on each ad, which is absolutely fine. Now we're going to go and look at the results. Okay. So we're going to go into the results. Now we're going to highlight the campaign and go to the ad page. And you'll see now that we've probably had quite a few clicks. Okay. So we're going to go in there, and I can see here that most of the ads have had around 40 to 60 clicks. The cost per result is between 15p up to 20p. And we can see here, I haven't spent very much money at all. And that's based on because of my CPNs, which range about £3. But I can see my click-through rates. Now, when in your columns, I want you to customize your columns, and I want you to use the column unique CTR brackets link click-through rate. We want to go uniquely on this. Now, the thing with mine, these have all come out really quite strong. So my lowest one is 2.13 and my highest is 2.88. So you can see a difference of nearly 1% between the worst and the best. If I look at one of my other hooks on this, just to give you a better example, one that didn't work so well, I've got one here. This one has come out at my lowest is 1.57. My highest is 2.58. So you will start seeing examples as you're doing these hooks and headline tests that you'll get some hooks and headlines that are coming through at like 0.5%, but your best one has come through at like 2.5%. So imagine you chose when you're writing all your copy and you didn't do this testing. Imagine you'd chosen one that was 0.5%, and you're like, oh, this ad's just not working. Whereas if you'd used a hook or a headline that was at 2.5%, it would have made them 4 times. You would have made your ad set 4 or 5 times better by running an ad on it. Okay, so now what you're going to do is you've got these results here. You're going to basically put those results into your spreadsheet. So you've got your hook, go back to your spreadsheet with your hook on it. And now you're going to detail in there the cost per click for ad 1, for hook 1, and its click-through rate. Number 2, your cost per click for test 2, headline 2, hook 2, sorry, too many things going on. Hook 2 and its click-through rate, and so on and so forth. You've now created a spreadsheet. Keep an eye on that one. And then what we're going to do on the next one is we're going to look at doing this test again, and we're going to do headlines, but we're going to use headlines using the winning hook. So sit tight, get this test run, and by the time you've run this test and put it back into your hook category, we'll be ready to run the next headline. See you on the next podcast.